Last Monday, on November 11th of 2024, I went to bed in a relatively shitty world. And then I woke up the next day in an even worse shitty world. Of course, I'm talking about 7.1 Dragoon changes, okay? Now, of course, if you don't know by now, in 7.1 there were numerous, of course, job changes, right? One of the changes that Dragoon got was that they had the wonderful idea of reducing the amount of Nastrons you have from what used to be three down to only one. Of course, there was also some other changes that were like kind of good. It was kind of good. When you use elusive jump now, it gives you like a buffed Pierce talent that you can use whenever you have to do downtime or something like that, right? But who cares? No one cares about that. What really matters here is the Nastrond changes, okay? Now, it's pretty clear by the title of this video and by how I am speaking right now that I think these changes are absolutely fucking dog shit, okay? Now, instead of on server up on back on Tuesday, instead of just, getting my pitchforks and causing a riot immediately, I decided to give the benefit of the doubt and try the job as it was these last, what, 4 days already. And yeah, I think I am still feeling the same about it. It's pretty shit. Okay. So let's get into why I think it's shit. First off, it's not to say that, oh, bursting a ton of off GCDs was anything unique or anything like that. But there's one thing about it that it was fun to do, okay? And I would say that in this expansion, the changes that Dragoon got at the beginning of this expansion, where they reduced the recast time with Nastrond, actually made it even more fun. I thought Life of the Dragon was even more fun than it was before in like Endwalker, okay? It was fast, it was bursty as hell, it was just fuck yeah, I'm gonna enter Life of the Dragon and you're gonna eat all of my shit. Now it's like nothing basically, right? The 1 minute is laughable. It's nothing, okay? I also, obviously, since they reduced the number of Nastrons, they had to make a bunch of potency changes. Starcross is like 1000 now. Stardiver, I'm pretty sure, got a little bit of a buff as well. And obviously, Nastron used to be like 300 something, I think, between the three of them. It's now 720. And while that makes sense, I think that it's like a slap in the face, in my opinion. Because, like, it's like, what do you mean this one off GCD that is not meant to hit this hard for just one cast? Gonna hit for 720. I think that's pretty lame. I think it's pretty dog shit. It puts even more emphasis probably on like crit RNG because now you have such a high hidden skill that will be very great if it crits, but if it doesn't, well, guess what? You're out of luck, baby. Pretty much this job is now kind of hollow, is the term, the word that I keep falling back to really describe this, is that it's just hollow. And I think what's really more frustrating about this is obviously I read the patch notes, I read the reasoning as to why they did this. They did it in the name of reducing button bloat. Obviously, the job is during its burst windows, right? While sure, like I guess, yeah, it was very bursty, but I don't even think it was necessarily a bad thing. And if it needed to be changed, there are better alternatives that they could have done. I think you've probably heard this one everywhere be mentioned. Life Surge. I don't even think you need to go as far as needing to remove the boat, all of it. You could have just reduced Life Surge to just one cast or one charge, actually. One charge, and like, I don't know, maybe reduce it to reduce the recast to like 30 seconds. So you do it more often to sort of make up for the fact that you lost a charge. The more bigger in more bigger obvious change that they could have done that I haven't seen too many people say about this from what I have looked at is the remove Mirage dive. Okay, in 7.0 at the release of this expansion, I thought a lot of the changes or additions more like that Dragoon got were actually really great. I've already mentioned one. The reducing the recast of Nastrond to 2 seconds, I think it was 2 seconds, instead of like 10, what it used to be, was actually great. I thought that made the job feel way more better. I liked all the follow-ups that got to that Dragon Fire Dive got. I was positive about the removal of Spine Shatter Dive and give you a gap closer that you could use basically whenever the hell you want. And same thing with Stardiver with the follow-up. I thought these were all great. Reducing the positional, right? Having Drake's Bane. I thought that was neat. And some overall aesthetic things that got improved, like Vorpal Thrust, enhanced animation. Same thing with not Disembowel did you? Yes, Disembowel. I thought these are great, pretty great all overall. But the one thing I always thought was weird is, why is Mirage Dive still here? Okay, you got rid of the scales, not the scales, I'm sorry, the eyes, accumulating eyes. You got rid of that. So why the hell does Mirage Dive still exist, right? One comparison I make to this is Ninja, okay? Ninja used to have the Hutong gauge, right? And obviously, there used to be a skill, I forgot the name of it, but it used to be a skill that you could use that would immediately fill up your Hutong gauge back to max, right? Now this was kind of like an oh shit kind of button, kind of. I'm not like a ninja expert, but it was a thing that you would do if you needed it, right? Well, in this expansion, they got rid of the Hutong gauge, they replaced it with something else, and they got rid of that button, right? Because obviously it's a skill that purely existed within the confines of an old system. Now that you did away with that old system, there's no reason for this skill to exist. And I find that same comparison to Mirage Dive. Mirage Dive was purely for you to get eyes. They got rid of the eye system, so why the hell does Mirage Dive still exist? They should have just removed it. It it did no damage. It was like 200 potency, which they obviously they buffed it now because we lost 2 off GCDs for this, or we removed 2 off GCDs for the job. We need to make up the damage. Oh, this skill that only does 200. Well, let's make it do for like 350. I think it does now. 350, 380 or something like that. It's just some of the worst decisions they could have done for the sake of reducing button bloat. It's just, you would have accomplished the same goal if you just removed Mirage Dive and if you just removed 1 charge of Life Surge. You don't even have to completely remove the skill, okay? There's your 2 off GCDs gone, okay? And you still keep the feel of the job exactly the same. It's intact. But they just did it. And and these kinds of decisions, it's like, the Viper thing was one thing that when they got that change, I didn't like it because it was like a sort of like optimization thing that I liked to do, that I found out, which I thought was pretty neat. And they removed that, and I was kind of pissed about it. But the job still feels the same after I played it recently. It still feels the same. But, I could forgive the Viper change, but I can't forgive this. This is absolutely stupidity. And I question the people in charge of this job, and specifically as to what the hell are they doing and what are they thinking? Because now I just feel like there's no clear direction or vision for this job now. This change kind of almost basically contradicts their change that they did for the beginning of this expansion, again reducing the recast time to that. So that doing this change now completely invalidates this change. So it's kind of like you're not really thinking about these changes. They didn't think anything of how the 1 minute would feel now. It's just doesn't really make any sense, right? It's like if you wanted to remove 1 tree from a forest, instead of chopping it down, they just lit it on fire. It's like, what are you doing? Okay, it's so silly. Like, you know, looking now towards next expansion, I think Dragoon, unironically, very much needs a complete rework now, because now it doesn't have almost anything. Like, it just lost a big part of what you do as Dragoon is no longer there anymore. So what do we do now? Like, you have to completely change the system. And there's just so many questions. It's like, remember like a year or 2 years ago, however long that was, that, oh, Dragoon was going to get a rework in the middle of Endwalker. It was like planned for 6.3, and they pushed it back to next expansion, right? Next expansion comes around. Lo and behold, oh, this isn't a rework. This is just like a addition or overhaul. Like, you, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense, because the changes that they did was actually really good and fixed some of the issues that Dragoon had. Obviously, Mirage Dive and Lifestream were still there, but that was like a problem that you could have absolutely tackled 2 years from now for next expansion and actually change up the job. Like, there's so many questions. I don't know what's going on with this team anymore when it comes to like jobs and stuff. Obviously, they said, this was a little while back, that they said that what, beginning like 7.2 onwards, they were going to change the direction of job design or something like that. I can't exactly remember what it was about, but I thought that statement was very vague. And it's like, well, what do you mean by that? Is there really like big changes come into, like, for example, like 7.2 job changes or 0.3 job changes? Or do you simply mean that you're going to be planning things differently for the next expansion? I think it's probably the latter in this case, but I just don't know what they are thinking when they do stuff like this. So, and then again, you compare it to other jobs. Other jobs got good changes. Other jobs are objectively designed better. And it's just, do these people not talk to each other at all? Like I don't know. Like, I remember one streamer by the name of Arthur said this same thing as well a while back. Like, the job for X guy does not talk with the guy for Y job, and it's just the jobs within the same role. And it's just like, well, why are these inconsistencies here? And especially when the jobs are so goddamn similar now, it's just glaring job design issues that doesn't make any sense to me. But whatever. Anyways, that's about a wrap up of what I wanted to give to these changes. My thoughts on these changes. I think Dragoon is absolutely butchered right now. I think it is a shell of what it used to be. It is hollow, and I'm actively looking, you know, to play other jobs now, specifically Ninja and Viper. Because they just seem like much more fun and better designed to me, in my opinion, than Dragoon. So, as a Dragoon main, I am hurt by these changes. I am disappointed by these changes, and I hope that, you know, the 14 team can do a better job in the future. But anyways, that's it. Peace.